Over my shoulder, you can probably see there, it is there, and our driver's eye view. The driver today has been with British Rail for 43 years. It's Harry Blackburn. 30 years of his career has been spent driving. In fact, he's one of the last of the regular steam train drivers, and he's driven the Deltics as well. Now, that wagon that he's pulling there has a brake problem. Can you call up the number of that on your top system here and find out what it's carrying? And it's coming up on our computer terminal now. There we are, we're into the system. There's the number of the wagon you can see outside.
That's it.
It's been taken away for some brakes to be fixed.
It's a wagon loaded with sections, actually. It's quite topical. It's for the Channel Tunnel link. And again, that's on its way down to Dover.
Okay, that wagon's about 10 years old, incidentally, isn't it? So what, about 25 grand to buy that 10 years ago?
25,000 to buy it 10 years ago, 37,000 to replace it now.
That's a lot of money. And I believe that about half of the wagons that pass through here are privately owned.
Yeah, about 50%.
It's an expensive business. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. So there we are, a day in the life of a marshalling yard. Now to your control and Rob.
Thanks very much, Paul. The latest on our own Railwatch train is that it's now 10 minutes behind time, just passed through Peterborough Station. Now, of course, we've been following our train throughout the week. By the time it got to King's Cross this morning, it had done something like 1,982 miles this week, so it's halfway on its way to America by now. As far as the driver's concerned, he started off driving the train, of course, on Monday. He was driving the Railwatch train. Today, he's only doing a parcels train from King's Cross up as far as Leeds, and then another driver took it on to Newcastle. John Swaby then returned to London as a passenger. By the time he gets to bed this evening, he'll have done a total of 1,120 miles. Mike, a fairly interesting story that came in on the log of problems that they've had overnight. Yeah. One driver yesterday was had up for speeding. This is driving a train, not a car. He was caught by a British Rail official who presumably was hiding behind a signal post or something with their own radar speed trap, a kind of problem I suspect you might have come across, Mike.
Certainly not. But, you know, the cynics in life would say he should be given a medal, Rob, for speeding on British Rail.
Yes, maybe he should, yes, making up some time. Maybe we should get our Railwatch driver to do that now.
Well, are we maybe painting too black a picture this afternoon? You know, we're showing all these things that are going wrong. Of course, most of it goes right, doesn't it?
A lot of it goes right, Mike. You must remember, of course, that there's a heck of a lot of stock here, and it's being used absolutely to capacity. As one of our controllers here said, these HSTs are pretty well being flogged. They don't get much of a rest, and so these kind of technical problems are fairly common.
Well, we saw that from Penny's report in Leeds, that they do have to go through a lot of maintenance. But what do you suspect is the major problem? I mean, if they bought some more trains and got some newer stock out there, wouldn't it solve it?
I think that's partly the problem. I think as far as the diesel locomotive fleet is, that's pretty old. They haul still some of the passenger trains and most of the freight trains. I think as far as these HSTs are concerned, one problem, I mean, thank goodness there's a power car at each end. What will happen when they bring in these new Class 91 locomotives that have only got a power car at one end? How are they going to move the trains then? And of course the electrification service that's coming up shortly, they're just doing this. In fact, this work is going on behind me here. You can see out the window. They're actually preparing the East Coast main line for total electrification, and then there'll be a whole load of new engines coming on because of course the HSTs haven't got the cantilever pantograph on top of them to pick up the power, but they'll be bringing new locomotives to do that, and they'll be running on this very line all the way up the East Coast. So things aren't that bad, and things are improving on British Rail. There's a lot of investment going into this sort of thing here. We'll be back with you at the same time tomorrow. I'm nipping off to Leeds right now. I'm going to join Penny Buston and Paul Coyer down there. Between us, we'll bring you the behind-the-scenes story of how a big city station is run, a complex operation involving a mix of services. There's intercity, cross-country, provincial, local commuter services. And Rob Curling will be in Leeds, where they've had their fair share of problems this morning, haven't they, Rob? They have. I won't actually, Mike. I'll be here in York Control tomorrow. You'll be in Leeds. But they have had problems this morning. There were 60 arrivals in 1 hour at Leeds, but 2 locomotives then broke down, which meant they had to make 12 platform changes at that point. So they've had a pretty hectic morning. Yes, you're right.
OK, Rob, tomorrow's another day. We'll report live from Leeds in Railwatch tomorrow at 2:15. Please do join us until then. Good afternoon.